part about working for yourself as an owner, business owner, entrepreneur, whatever you want to call yourself. Solopreneur. My name is Michael Barive. I was able to build a team of 150 plus sales guys. We did it in less than 2.5 years with zero money invested. Now we have a lot of different companies that are growing like crazy. Being an entrepreneur, I would say, is one goddamn tough thing. I'm going to give you guys 8 reasons why working for yourself may not seem so glorious as you may want, right? It's a little bit tough, and why it actually is tough, because a lot of people don't understand why it's tough, right? Is that number one, you have to stay committed to your word. You have to have accountability and consistency. You made a promise. I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. Guess what? Now you got to be accountable to that when you don't feel like doing it. You got to be consistent when it's hard, when it's raining, when it's snowing, when it's not convenient. Consistency is the reason why most people don't win, especially as an entrepreneur, because they're not consistent. They're not being accountable to their word. And a lot of times the emotion is here when you make the decision, but then guess what? Your emotion is here now. You don't want them to do that thing again. So that's why it's very important to make decisions and not make decisions because of the emotion, but make a decision because you're committing to make the decision. And once you make a commitment, it's game over. It's done. It's got to get done. And that's how you hold yourself accountable. Number 2, trust in the process with patience. Being patient with the process, like going in there, you're showing up, you're doing the work, you're getting done, you're putting in the effort, you're putting in the time, but you don't see the results, right? Because the results take time. There's seed time, there's harvest time, then there's growth. Then there's harvest time. You have to have a sense of patience. And I used to always say, I'm not a doctor, I don't have patience, right? As a joke. But you have to have patience. It's not gonna be easy, very difficult. And a lot of times it's difficult because you don't see the results of all the effort you're putting in. You're putting in more effort than the actual results are coming out. So you're like, is it worth it? Should I do this? That's where doubt kicks in, fear kicks in, worry, disbelief. You have a gloomy kind of sense of attitude. He's like, shit, I'm doing all this shit. I don't see the results. 2 months in, I'm still pounded. I don't see it. 6 months in, I don't see it. Sometimes you put it in a year, you don't see it. And that's tough, right? Number 3, biggest thing for me was I had to lower my ego. I had to realize that I don't know shit. At the end of the day, like, I just don't know stuff. I don't know enough. I need to learn. I need to grow. I need to become better. And lowering your ego is a sign that you're mature enough to say, you know what? I fucked up. I made a mistake. I don't know enough. So a lot of people, they're not willing to lower their ego. They're not willing to say, you know what? I just don't know. If you lower your ego, your income starts to grow. It's crazy how that works. Number 4, not being distracted by the noise, especially when you're lost or in losing mode. Very, very difficult to not be distracted by the noise whenever you're losing. For example, when you're losing and someone says something to you, like, hey, you should change this, maybe a friend or someone, maybe it could be anybody. You're like, damn, maybe he's right. Maybe I am a loser. Maybe I did fuck up. Maybe, maybe I shouldn't be doing this business. Maybe I should find another industry. Maybe you're right. Maybe I'm not so smart. Everyone left this industry. Maybe I should not stay in this industry. You start questioning yourself because you're losing and you're in a losing mode. It's very easy to get distracted by the noise, right? When you're winning, you don't have to listen to anybody. You already figured out what needs to get done. But sometimes you're not in winning mode. A lot of times in entrepreneur mode, you're in losing mode. You're in grind mode. You're in hurt mode. You're in pain mode. And in those moments, you can get distracted by the noise. Number 5. Failing. Tough thing about being an entrepreneur is there's a lot of failure. A lot of people, they think there's a lot of wins all day, but a lot of times there's a lot of failure. And you go from failure to failure to failure, hopefully with enthusiasm, right? But a lot of times it's very difficult to be enthusiastic when you're failing. And a lot of times you get embarrassed. And embarrassment is painful. Being embarrassed in front of your peers, your friends, your network, your competitors, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing to lose. And it's painful, but that's part of the toughest thing about being an entrepreneur. Number 6, getting screwed over by people or situations or environment. Look what happened, a couple years ago with the solar industry, right? A lot of people, they lost their shirts in the last year or 2, right? You get screwed over. Companies owe you money. This happens. Boom. You lose people. People screw you over. Some people lie to you. It happens. The fame, you get stabbed in the back. It's part of business sometimes, and it sucks. I wish it wasn't that painful, but it is. It's a cruel world sometimes. I'm not always attracting that in my life, right? You don't want to attract that, but sometimes this shit happens. You hire the wrong person. You have the wrong situation in front of you. It happens. Number 7, the toughest thing for me always was feeling alone, feeling like I didn't have somebody with me, feeling like I didn't have the ability to connect with other people because nobody understood me. And sometimes entrepreneurs, we feel misunderstood. And it hurts. And it's tough. And it's painful. And you're by yourself in your own head, laying down in bed, thinking about how the fuck you're going to make payroll this week. How you're going to pay for rent. How you're going to make your customers happy. How you're going to do this. How you're going to do that. It's all the pain, all the energy, all the stresses on your shoulder. You lost a big contract. Something bad happened. Like, it gets crazy. And you feel alone sometimes because you don't feel like anybody can understand you. Not even your wife sometimes. And that's the challenge. Number 8, seeing minimal results, which we kind of talked about a little bit, but seeing minimal results from a lot of work and not seeing anything happen is very tough, right? So those are the 8 things that I kind of think, and there's probably more. Maybe you could add a few in the comments. Let me know what you think. But it's very tough to be an entrepreneur. The question is, why do you want to be an entrepreneur? I want you to write down some things on a piece of paper right now and write to yourself, why do you want to be an entrepreneur? Are you willing to go through some of these things? And what kind of person do you think you'll become if you go through some of these situations, right? I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. I want you to grow. Don't forget to write those things down on a piece of paper or on your phone to understand who are you? What are you about? What kind of entrepreneur do you want to be? Why do you want to be an entrepreneur? And are you willing to go through some of these painful moments? I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. And I'll see you guys in the next video.